Thank you so much for checking out Pure Delusion, and feel free to hit that subscribe button. You're watching Ballin Bearcats. We were just blessed on Thursday night to finally see the beginning of college football here in Cincinnati. Your Cincinnati Bearcats took on the Austin Peay Governors. The night began in typical UC fashion. The band stormed down the stadium. Those awesome skydivers parachuted onto the field. And we even got to see a pretty sweet brand new video board that is crystal clear. They even handed out those annoying thunder sticks that makes your small ass crowd sound super loud. And let's talk about that small ass crowd. Here's a shot of what Nippert Stadium looked like 2 minutes before game time. Looks pretty empty, huh? And here's a shot of the crowd a few minutes later when the game actually started. The one positive takeaway from the attendance was that the student section was sold out, and props to these students who have consistently came and showed up to support the school for the past several years, even through the depressing Tommy Tuberville era. For this game, the announced attendance was 30,800, which doesn't seem very accurate to me. Cincinnati fans really need to step their game up when it comes to supporting this team. During the Brian Kelly years, Nippert was rocking every single game. What's that saying? These hoes ain't loyal? But moving on to the actual game, Hayden Moore was named starting quarterback. And I'd say he won the job because of A, he's experienced, and B, there's a serious lack of depth on this team, especially at quarterback. So the Hayden Moore experiment continues here in Cincinnati, and we all have felt the effects, especially on Thursday night. This offense struggled to score points against an FCS team. At the end of the first quarter, the Bearcat offense had 16 yards. The offense looked pretty similar to what Tommy Tuberville produced last season, and spoiler alert, it wasn't really pretty. Mike Boone, UC's starting running back, did gain 100 yards, but he had a difficult time finding the holes because the defenders could just stack the box. You could tell these defenders really weren't worried about Hayden Moore. The offensive coordinator focused primarily on slant routes and screens, and we really didn't see any deep throws by Hayden Moore. They may have wanted to keep the playbook pretty vanilla against an inferior opponent, but wow, the offensive play calling lacked creativity, and never was there a time where I felt like UC was really in control of this game. The one bright spot of the evening was UC's defense. Luke Fickell is obviously known as a defensive guy, so I think the defense will definitely overachieve this season. There was only a few times where they blew coverage, but the tackling looked pretty good, and the schemes were all pretty sound. So what can we expect from UC football this season? Well, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take some time for Luke Fickell to rebuild this program that Tuberville spent 4 years tearing down. I'd temper my expectations, and I'd say we can expect between 5 to 6 wins. You know, I hate to be a guy that tears down college football players, but there's a lot to be desired at that quarterback position. One of the few bright spots on offense this season is definitely going to be number 85, Thomas Geddes. We saw Geddes turn some of those little shitty slant routes into touchdowns and big plays. There was quite a few times where Geddes was able to break tackles, and I can only imagine what this guy can do if we see him in the open field. So to wrap this episode up, this is definitely a rebuilding season here at UC. UC is going to go to Michigan this week and probably get clobbered. But they need to take those lumps and learn from their mistakes. Fickell is a good coach, and we need patience. This is a rebuilding job. Tuberville was an awful recruiter, and he left this roster in horrible shape. Fickell has been recruiting his ass off, and it will pay dividends in 2018. Unfortunately, this year we may have to watch some pretty bad football in Cincinnati. That's all I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to hit that subscribe button to see future episodes of Ballin Bearcats.